in the last verse, what we saw is one more aspect of, one way, one more other way of looking at or totally understanding Ishvara and the creation was talked about, which is Maya. So what we understand is that, one reality which actually never undergoes a change, or which is totally attributeless, or there is no sense of doership or anything, has the as though capacity, which is not an intrinsic thing, yeah, as though capacity to manifest the universe. So with this, with reference to this as though capacity, we call it what? Maya. Now that capacity has two different aspects. One is what? Vikshepa, the capacity to project, and within that projection there is avarana, the cover. So that means everybody doesn't know the reality. So when there is one, you see many. That is avarana. That is what is meant by avarana. Yeah? It covers the fact that there is only one. It covers from your understanding, because you see many forms and you conclude there are many. Now, when the universe, that same capacity with its knowledge actually manifests as the whole universe. So that means it manifests as what? Time, space, and every object within time and space. So that is what we call the cause of the universe. And what is the nature of the cause of the universe? That is Ishvara. What is the nature of the cause of the universe? The cause of the universe is both the material and the maker of the universe. So that means it is in and through the whole universe. Where do you see, how do you see that? Because you only see the forms. So what we do is we examine all the forms and we say, when we see the form, actually there is the manifestation of intelligence. It's a demonstration. What is a demonstration? You look at your eyes, you look at your kidney, you look at your cells, and you see that there is an intelligence which is governing it. You are not doing it. Demonstration. So it's not a belief. Yeah. Now, then you think that, okay, all the forms are intelligence. Then we say, no, there is also what? The laws which govern the forms. That is also Ishvara. So not only the forms are Ishvara, but also the laws which govern the forms are also Ishvara. Then you may conclude that, okay, only the forms that are known to me are Ishvara, and Ishvara is only this much. So what we do is make you see that actually the world is constantly changing. So that means there were so many forms that happened in the past, so many forms which are yet to come. So when you say it's all the forms, it doesn't mean only the forms which are present today. So then we make you see the fact that it is any form that existed in the past, any form which exists in the future. And what is the pattern through which the past, present and the future happen? It happens through manifestation and unmanifestation. So that means the past has to go in order for the present moment to take place. The present moment has to leave in order for the future moment to take place. So this is how the whole universal design is. So that means within that intelligence is all these capacities. Now, within that intelligence is also the capacity to arrange the universe in a way that some things are living and some things are non-living. So mountains, rivers, stones, everything seems to be what? Non-living. And then there are some entities who are able to interact with the world, and through that interaction, what happens? We also pick up what? Pleasure, pain, emotions, everything. So that means all this, and these are what we call jivas. So that means now you have so many different names for what? One reality. Names don't add anything to reality. Whether you add the name Maya, or you add the name Ishvara, or you add the name Anna, or you add the name Rajan, or you name, it doesn't do anything to one reality. So this is why those who say, if I accept Ishvara, then I am creating duality. It tantamounts to saying that if I interact with you, I am accepting the entity you, and that will harm my duality. It is like saying that. Please understand the implication of things that we say. So that means non-duality means you have everything only is one. So that means you will reject the whole universe and its forms and their functions in order to abide in non-duality. This is a problem. So that means my non-duality doesn't get shaken if I accept what Anna and the presence of Anna in that form. It doesn't get shaken. I can interact with her. I can show my love to her, and it doesn't shake my vision of non-duality. Similarly, if I accept Ishvara from where not only my body comes, your body comes, I am not, where is the shaking, where is the negation of non-duality? Tell me.
But when you interact with a person with this awareness,
yes,
isn't there a slight element of either fakeness or kind of like almost coldness? I mean, I'm using the wrong word.
See, Namita, there are certain things which are facts. We are not asking you to change the nature of interaction. This is the problem. See, the thing is, in fact, your interaction can be more loving, more understanding, more considerate if you understand both of us are as a part of one reality. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. It's people's non-understanding of the reality which makes them as though cold, as though indifferent, as though detached. Because so many messages are given in spirituality that the world has nothing to offer, so you be detached to the world. So the artificialness comes from there. Here we don't have that. That is not the vision of Vedanta. That is their own, whoever the spiritual master is saying, be detached from the world. It is that person's vision. It is not the vision of Vedanta. Unfortunately, it is presented as vision of Vedanta, which is a big mistake. So that means if you have to keep away from the world, then it becomes artificial. It becomes some kind of an indifferent. What we are saying is, wherever there is a form, that's exactly where there is Ishvara. And wherever there is Ishvara, there is truth of Ishvara. All three. So what will you stay away from? Tell me. The only thing that you have to do is remove your ignorance. So instead of seeing only the form, which makes you conclude you are different from me, when you understand two more realities, you understand that every form is manifestation of the same reality. We are actually giving you depth of from which to see the many manifestation. Because if you only use your eyes, you get fooled and you see only objects, and you naturally conclude, I am separate from everybody else. And why you see that? Because you have missed two realities. The two other realities are covered in your vision. So only thing that Vedanta does is, where you see form without displacing that form, please understand, it makes you see two more realities. The presence of intelligence and presence of awareness. Then you accept the forms, you accept the intelligence which governs the forms, and you also see the truth of it as awareness. It's just lifting veils. It is not staying away from anything. What will you stay away from? There is only one thing in this universe. What will you stay away from? We don't use some basic logic to say, hey, how can I stay away from something? Staying away from something implies two. Nobody can tell me the vision of oneness and say you stay away from this. Doesn't make sense. But some simple logic eludes us. Our thinking is so conditioned by a certain way, simple logic we don't use to help ourselves. And then we get confused because one person says, oh, you have to stay away from the world. The other person says, hey, all that is here is one. Then we say, yeah, but you know, maybe everybody is right. So that means we don't even have the discriminating capacity and even the capacity to examine with ourselves which of the two makes sense. We keep telling ourselves, yeah, maybe everybody is right. Maybe, you know, this is what, I'm so much in hurry for moksha. Let me listen to here, let me listen to here, let me gather as much information as possible so that I can quickly get out of this samsara. This orientation will create more confusion. Because you just want to add on and pile up, and then as though what you want to expedite the process. But when you are receiving contradictory information and your ability to process that information is limited, your clarity, it will actually be sacrificed rather than increased. So that means one has to be careful. And at least one has to be very vigilant when one listens to Vedanta. So this is why it will make you disinterested if you think that, oh, I have to be detached to this person. But in fact, if you understand that this and me are not separate, and my well-being is connected to your well-being, how are you going to behave? Tell me. Are you going to be indifferent? Are you going to live like me versus the world? Or all of us are included in one thing, and we are so intricately connected to each other, and my well-being is defined by your well-being. Enlightened way of living. So this is how it is. So now, so we have the names that we give to different objects. We give name river, we give name mountain, we give the name air, we give the name to different entities, computer, projector. All that doesn't do anything to what?
The reality.
The reality. And to one reality which is attributeless, it is free from everything. It is not actually undergoing any change to make this and what, but at the same time, this object is what, not independent of this reality. In fact, to make it easy, you can take your own self in a limited way, okay, with reference to your dream world. So what happens that you yourself are what, much bigger than what, anything that you create. But you also have a capacity to what, manifest the dream. But the dream that you have capacity to manifest, right now hopefully you are not dreaming. So that means you are totally free from the dream. Totally. Totally. So that means, but that capacity is there. Now, that capacity which is unmanifest now is also not your intrinsic nature. Now, when you go to sleep and then after maybe 1 hour or 2 hours of sleep, you got that capacity which was a potential, which then becomes what? Reality, manifest dream. Now, you are called, now what, before you had what, the potential, now you are called what, the creator of the dream. Why? Because the dream has come into manifestation. So now you get a different name. What is the name? Before you had you, then the potential. Now that potential has become manifest, so you get a different name, and that is what? Creator of the dream. Now, what is the relationship of dream world with you, the creator of the dream? The dream time is you, dream space is you, all the dream objects which are what? Sentient and insentient, they are all you. Even though they are all you, they get different names. What is the different name that you get? Dream mountain, dream water, dream trees, dream buildings, dream characters, all different names. It gets different names, it doesn't do anything to one reality, please understand that. So therefore, you get all these different names for different objects. Now if you are living in a dream world, you get fooled by what you see. Until the dream guru makes you see that all the characters in the dream are coming from what? One intelligence, including dream time and dream space is coming from one intelligence. That intelligence which is now manifest as dream was what? Unmanifest before, Maya. And that Maya is not hanging by itself. It is what? A capacity of the person you who's totally free from what? The whole show. You're free from the potential, you're free from the manifestation, you're free from every character that is going on in the dream. You're free from everything. What is the macro reality is given to you in form of an experience, your own experience. You have all of this. You have the Purusha, the final reality. You have the potential, Maya. You are given what? The Ishwaratvam of your dream, and you are also given what? The character of your different characters of your dream. Everything. Only difference between the reality and this reality is what? The little individual is what? Ishvara of dream world. In the other case, there is all knowledge and all power. So therefore, giving different names doesn't do anything. And see, you can't say, now okay, let me only, you can't say in the dream world, all this analysis is too difficult, let me just do one exercise. I am the whole, I am the whole, I am the whole. What will happen? Is your understanding of everything proper? Because if I think about everything, I'll add duality. You are restricting your analysis. So therefore, one has to see the realities as they are. One has no choice. So therefore, this is what we have seen. Now, what is interesting, Satish, before he came, he told me, and which is true, I think you read in what Wikipedia, that this whole Shvetashvatara Upanishad is all about Shiva. And obviously it cannot be about one deity, but it is true in the sense that the next few verses are taking one deity, and that is Rudra. So now, what you need to understand is, in the whole understanding of the vision of Vedanta, what we have talked about is Maya, we have talked about Ishvara, we have also talked about the need for prayers as relating to Ishvara. Now, there is one more practice which is extremely important, and it is extensively discussed in Upanishads, and that is what we call Upasana. The Upasanas they serve a very important purpose. So what happens is, we first need to see everything as part of Ishvara, then we can move to the truth of Ishvara. So that means when you see many different things, you have to begin to see what? Ishvara. So that means that whether it is any form, so there are different upasanas where you deliberately, so Surya makes you do, Surya maybe tomorrow you can make them do. The thing is that creative power which is in the universe is also creative power which is in me. So that means you take your form, and when you think you are, you see what? The presence of Ishvara. So then you can say the sustaining also is what? Within me. Then the destruction is also what? Within me. So that means all the powers of the universe which are external are also what? Internally available to me. So that means that the inside outside is an illusion. Everything which is outside is also here. It is only what? Seeming what? Boundary. So these are the words of Albert Einstein. He says that the whole universe is an undivided whole. But the forms give an illusion of what? Limitation and enclosure. And the whole life we are imprisoned by what? This optical illusion that we are made to see. And we live as limited individuals. Whereas actually there is no difference between outside and inside. Any power which is in the universe, you are also given in what? Some measure. Creative power you have. Sustaining power also you have. This is why you try so hard to keep what? The money that you have. Keep the relationship that you have. You have to work. And also what? So many things you have to what? See exiting from your life. Everything. So that means in the body itself, where you only see the body, you go 2 steps further and you go 1 step further and see what? The presence of Ishvara. This is called Ahangraha Upasana. That means you take yourself, and when you think you are, you begin to see what? Ishvara. Because Ishvara, that's when the orientation that Ishvara is an external entity will go away. You have to work at it. Otherwise it will not go away. The division that me and Ishvara are separate has to go. Where you are, that's exactly where Ishvara is. Ishvara may not be only you, but Ishvara also has all of Ishvara is there, not part of Ishvara. All knowledge is right here, making this form what it is. All power is right here, not partial power. All power to make that form what it is. Capacity to manifest is right here, which is making this form what it is. Capacity to wield is also right here in 2 ways. As Surya is saying, one is stem cells have all the potential. Some are blocked to make them what? Kidney cells. Some are blocked to make them into liver cells. It's right here. And also the wielding capacity is right here, which makes you conclude there are many when in fact there is one. The whole of Ishvara is here. So that means wherever there is a form, there is Ishvara there. This is one type of upasana you have to begin to see it. Because we are not used to seeing things like that. The other upasana that we can do,
What is upasana?
this is what I am explaining now. I am explaining what is upasana. That you don't have a habit of seeing the presence of Ishvara everywhere. So the practice through which you
Upasana means
begin
practice,
to,
is it?
Upasana is a type of a practice where you begin to see what the presence of Ishvara in every form. It's a practice. Like a prayer is what just relating to that Ishvara. Here it's a deliberate practice. The orientation has to change. This Ishvara as an external entity is such a deep orientation. This is why so much of Vedanta is taught. Is so, hey, Ishvara, why do you need to bring? Anyway, it's Mithya. Just concentrate on Satyam. A problem. Such a, I tell you, you go for a ride for lifetimes. So this is why you need to, because you can't accept, you think that non-duality means there is only one thing and that is you. But you means what? You is not this individual. You have to ask this question, how did this individual come about? So that means you have to begin to see Ishvara intimately in what? Everything. That is Upasana. A practice through which you change your vision, you shift. That shifts are very important. Now, there is another Upasana which is, you take a stone, like in the temple. This stone, which is of oval shape, you superimpose what?
God.
Ishvara. You superimpose Ishvara, so that means it's not only in you. This represents, this Shiva Linga, it represents, if you want to represent divinity, and what is divinity? It includes all forms and at the same time it is formless. Because if it was one form, it cannot be other form. So in order for it to be what? All forms, it has to be free from all forms. Like if you were a dream mountain, you can't create dream water. In order for you to create dream mountain and water, you have to be free from both. Otherwise, you are confined to this, you can't confine something, you can't become something else. This is logic. If you are simultaneously everything, that means intrinsically you are free from everything. So that means if gold was a necklace, necklace was an intrinsic nature of gold. Gold cannot be seen as a ring. Gold cannot be seen as a earring. Gold cannot be seen as a bangle. The very fact that the gold is free from necklace, bangle, ring, intrinsically free from it all, it can appear as what? All of them. Logic. Logic. So that means Ishvara is intrinsically free from all forms, but from which comes what? All the forms. This Shivalinga is a representation of that. It actually, you are creating a form which represents Ishvara. You are understanding that it includes all forms, but itself is what? Not of any given form. So when you pray to Ishvara, then what do? When you pray to Shivalinga, you please understand that you are not praying to a stone. You are praying to a representation. Representation. For representation you need what? Some form. But that form is an aid for you to what? Connect to something which is a reality.
Actually, it's a concentration point.
No, it's not a concentration point. It is a point where your understanding of the reality is what? kind of, it's an aid to bring you back to your understanding. Concentration means, what do you mean? It's not like you are concentrating on...
Bring the mind to calm down and to have this connection.
That is connect.
So it's an aid. Yeah, so in that sense you can say, but I would say it's an... see, concentration does mean that you leave everything and you only concentrate on this, but there is no one object. On this object you understand it's a representation of the reality, which is what? It's something which is all pervasive. Concentration means you leave everything away and you concentrate only on one object. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But this, it reminds you of everything. You see what I mean? You use it, this is why it's called upasana, a practice that you do to make this vision of what the oneness real for you. Different aids.
Why is the practice of Hinduism then created this other, which is the opposite? I mean, it's like, you pray to Bhagwanji and all.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, no? So see, this Shiva Linga, people think that they are praying to some external entity. The idea is that this entity represents a something, which is what it is supposed to remind you that all that is here is one. And that is appearing as many different forms and itself is formless. That is what it is supposed to remind you. But we don't understand it and we think that, oh, there is this Shivji Bhagwan here. That is the problem.
In fact, the name Linga itself means, the word Linga itself means
Lingyate anena.
Lingyate anena iti lingaha. Means linga is that by which something else
Is
indicated. That is the definition of the word linga.
So it's been quite misrepresented as
Yes.
being the yoni and linga.
Yeah. Oh, that is all
Oneness.
very, very Western. It's nothing to do with tradition. Nothing to do with tradition.
Say it again, linga is by which everything is negated.
No. By which something else is indicated.
Lingyate anena iti linga.
Indicated. Symbolized, represented.
So that thing of yoni or what he's saying, what he said is a misrepresentation?
Totally. Absolutely. Absolutely. The tradition has nothing to do with that.
So I thought
Traditional
basically
view.
So it's more
it represents, it does represent
Yes.
creation in a way or manifestation.
See, in this mythological language, they say symbol. Okay. But we don't use that word. We say linga.
Now,
Actually, it's like organ which manifests. It's like people misinterpret, right? But then that organ could be only to give birth to human beings. It's total misinterpretation. To make the world what organ? No.
yeah, exactly. So that is, these are all, I don't know, somewhere along Western things, but the tradition doesn't take it like that at all. Now, the other upasana is also very important. Within the divinity itself, you see one given aspect of divinity, and you see also at the same place full divinity. Just as in your human form, you see the human form and you see Ishvara, in divinity also you see one given aspect and you see whole of it. I'll tell you what it means. So for example, there is Surya, the sun, is a Devata. Devata means what? That is a given divinity which has that given function of what?
Light and
Exactly.
sun, air.
Providing light, providing life, providing heat. That is what? A specific function. It is a different function from what? Varuna Devata, which is water. So that means it's a specific function which is also one function of what? One of the manifestation of the divinity. So where there is this manifestation, that's exactly where there is what? Ishvara. Just as where you are, there is whole of Ishvara, making you that form what it is. Wherever there is a sun, there is whole of Ishvara. What is whole of Ishvara? The all knowledge and all power, which makes that form what it is, with that given function what it is. So even devatas have to be seen as what? Manifestation of Ishvara. So there is this particular form and function, like you have a particular form and function, but behind you there is all knowledge and all power. When we talk about the intelligence of the universe in form of the sun, which is a very specific function, behind that is also what? All knowledge and all power. So that you see it as that given form with its function, but you don't stop there. You also see what? The whole of Ishvara there. So this is how, there are so many, so I'll tell you. Here I will explain how Shiva is taken like that. But before the next few verses are like that. That's why I'm coming to that. If you look at Ganesha as a representation, what is Ganesha as a representation?
Elephant.
Yeah, but as a representation in form of the divinity, the manifestation of divinity, we call it Vigna Raja and Vigna Haraha. Vigna Haraha means when you see the divinity that from the standpoint of the intelligence, from the standpoint of its capacity to give you obstacle based on your karma, and also what? Remove the obstacle because of your own efforts. That particular aspect of Ishvara, we give it a name called what? Ganesha. So that our understanding of divinity becomes what? More concrete. Now, where there is Ganesha, if you chant Ganesha Atharva Shirsha Upanishad, you see that function of Ganesha, but you also see Ganesha as what? The entire Ishvara. Because where there is Ganesha, there is also what? Ishvara. Entire Ishvara, making that form. It's again that what? Manifesting one aspect and blocking the other aspect. Just same.
Applies to devatas also.
It applies to devatas also. You understand? It applies to devatas also. So that means you can see one devata as that devata, but you can also see that devata in that devata whole of Ishvara. Are you getting this idea?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So can we say Devata is a birthless manifestation of the God to give some big function for the universe?
What?
All Devatas
Yes.
are eternal, basically, because they are given some big function for the universe to exist. Like sun is birthless, it continuously gives energy. So it's a big manifestation of the Ishvara.
Okay, no.
Because I don't know the definition of Devata, I don't know the definitions.
Yeah. See, here what we are saying, in fact there are multiple things here. Actually there are multiple things here. There is one thing which is a physical sun. Physical sun is what? Part of, it's a physical thing, which is what? Which is within time and space. It is not some eternal, time comes, space comes, and within which this manifestation of the sun comes. There is a physical sun. So our understanding of any object ends there, which is what? There is a physical sun there, which is hydrogen, and there is a capacity to convert into helium. That's where we stop. What Vedanta says is, the sun has a given function, there is an intelligence that is making that sun. It is not just dumb hydrogen converting into helium. There is some intelligence which is making it, giving a very important function. which has to do with sustaining life, providing heat, providing rain, providing sun, the plants with a capacity to absorb energy. It has a huge. So when you see the all intelligence from that given specific function, you call it what? Devata. It is not whole of Ishvara. It's that given particular function of Ishvara. That form is intelligently put together to serve that given function. It's not just a bunch of hydrogen atoms. So that is what we call Devata. Now that particular function where there is, that's exactly where there is what? All knowledge and all power. The whole of Ishvara. So that means you have to begin to see levels and levels and levels. Objects, then what? Here we call it what? Human form. Those are called what? Some devatas, because they don't only serve one entity, they serve so many.
So when we understand that Ishvara is the final, Ishvara is everything, all intelligence, and Devata is also manifestation of Ishvara.
Yes.
So then why do we pray Devata also? We should only pray Ishvara. It's the final end.
My God. See, this function has a role to play, no?
Yes.
You can't just say, see, but if I say everything is Ishvara, in fact, I don't understand Ishvara at all. When I begin to see Ishvara as what? This capacity which gives me life, I need to recognize it. Then my understanding of Ishvara becomes real, no? Otherwise what happens is, I only have some idea, vague idea of all knowledge and all power. So I have to make that idea concrete. So that means what? There is one entity which is sun, which has a specific function which is different from the function of Ganesha. Please understand, these are distinctions. What Ganesha does, sun does not do. What Lakshmi does, the sun does not do. What Saraswati does, Lakshmi does not do. What Durga does, what? These are all specific functions. Just as you can't say, let me not look at Anna, let me only look at Ishvara. You will not be able to, what? Relate to anything. You have to look at Anna and you have to look at what? Ishvara. Otherwise, you are deluded. Your understanding of Ishvara has to include what? It can't exclude objects and functions and powers and everything. This is what we call delusional. Delusional. There are levels here and you have to, seeing reality means you have to see all the levels. You can't say all these are in between levels, so let me only concentrate on the final. That will make you a person who is deluded and behind some idea of everything is one. You have to see each level. You have to recognize and you have to recognize their position vis-a-vis the whole. If you see, where you see in your dream, mountain, and you only want to skip to, ultimately it's only me, the person, you miss so many other realities. Your capacity to manifest, the potential, all of them make that form what it is. It's not only about coming to the final. In order to come to the final, you need all those steps, because all those steps, if you skip, you are not in touch with reality.
It's like connecting dots.
It's connecting dots.
So the dots are important for the connection.
You can't say, it's just very simple. Oh, this wall is nothing but atoms, so why should I think about the wall? Only let me think about the atom and space. Then, if that is your thinking, you will try to go across. And what will happen? The wall will bang you.
You'll get in touch with reality.
And then possibly Ishvara.
So that means every level has to be recognized. There is no skipping here. Vision means clarity means you can't skip steps. I'm not interested in between. In between is the one which gives you clarity, which gives you the capacity to discern, capacity to interact, and all of that, the whole acumen comes from there. Otherwise, what will happen? You will be inside.